Unexpected turn, how a grandmother's heartwarming action changed my daughter's life forever. Sarah Dawson never thought she'd be racing against the clock at 32, gripping her purse as she shuttled Lily, her spirited 8-year-old, out the door to school. The daily grind of 2 jobs at the local diner and grocery store was relentless. She worked hard, pouring coffee into steaming mugs, restocking aisles with her weary hands, all to build a future for her daughter: a small house, a safe neighborhood, a family with laughter cascading over dinner tables. Yet, every paycheck came with a heavy reminder. Little sunshine would sprinkle warmth on the frozen dreams Sarah held close. On a breathless, chilly evening, Sarah's life took a heart-wrenching turn. As she peeled carrots for dinner, the phone rang, piercing through her evening routine. It was the housing authority. Tears stung her eyes when she learned her elderly mother, Joan, was facing eviction due to medical bills. The weight of despair clamped down on her chest. Could she manage supporting her mother while keeping her little family afloat? Joan, the light in her life, who had taught her the resilience of a mother's heart, suddenly felt like she was slipping right through her fingers. Sarah's heart raced. The image of her mother's frail hands, once so strong, shrouded in worry, struck her deeply. Guilt burned hot within her, stinging her purpose, reminding her of all those times Joan had sacrificed for her and taken the brunt of disappointments. Memories flooded in, creating bubble baths in the living room, scavenger hunts in the backyard, laughter seeping through their small home, filled with borrowed warmth. Determined to bring something positive into the world, Joan laced her worn sneakers and began working on an ambitious community project to honor local veterans. Her hope was to instill values of resilience and respect in children like Lily. When Sarah found out, her scoff echoed through the home. Joe had already stretched their resources thin. "Mom, why take on more? Focus on your own life." But Joan's spirit burned bright. She wouldn't be daunted by doubt. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tension surged at their next family dinner like brewing storm clouds as Sarah kept her frustration at bay. "Why can't you just take care of yourself?" she demanded, the heat of unspoken words igniting. That night, both women unleashed years of misunderstandings. The rawness of their emotions bubbled to the surface, echoing love tangled with hurt, threatening to fracture bonds even deeper than mounting bills. But as the community rallied behind Joan's project, something within Sarah shifted. Watching Lily glow with excitement, learning firsthand the power of strength and community, could she really be part of this? Her chest tightened, emotions scrambling her thoughts. Just as optimism began to weave its way into Sarah's heart, a sudden call changed everything. An unexpected job opportunity lay before her, an enticing chance that could lift her family but pulled her values taut like an elastic band ready to snap. And in the midst of her chaotic thoughts, Lily's innocent question echoed in her mind. "Mom, what does family really mean to you?" At that moment, Sarah stood at a crossroads, heart racing, desperate for clarity amid the swirling storm. Sarah woke the next morning with a weight in her chest. She glanced at the clock. Another day of juggling her responsibilities awaited. Breakfast unfolded in a blur. The sizzling sound of eggs and bacon filled the kitchen while Lily, oblivious to the turmoil swirling within her mother, chirped about her upcoming school project. "Can we make a poster about veterans, Mom?" Lily asked, her eyes shining. The question pierced Sarah's heart, amplifying the conflict in her mind. How could she support her mother's noble cause while ensuring her daughter had the life she deserved? "Sure, honey. We can work on that later," she replied absently, rifling through her thoughts. After Lily rushed out the door, an envelope lay on the kitchen table, an acceptance letter for a factory position with health benefits. Sarah picked it up. The words "new beginnings" echoed hollowly in her head. A better job meant stability, money to help both her mother and her daughter, but at what cost? At the diner, the aroma of fresh coffee filled the air. The bustling chatter of customers faded as Sarah's mind replayed her clash with Joan. Could she betray her mom's ideals for the sake of security? Joan had fought for a world that taught children gratitude and bravery. Then came memories of huddling next to Joan while she narrated stories of proud veterans. Sarah pictured her mother's smile, the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke about courage. The connection between them had always been forged through shared values. Wasn't family about unity, even in challenges? That evening, Sarah found herself at the community center. The air buzzed with excitement as Joan's project took shape. Tables were adorned with pictures and memorabilia, showcasing local heroes. She watched in awe as Joan led a group of children, explaining the importance of honoring their forebears. Each child listened intently, captivated by the stories. Feeling drawn in, Sarah stepped forward. "Can I help?" she asked, her voice barely louder than a whisper. Joan's eyes lit up. "Of course, sweetheart. We need all hands on deck." For the first time, the tension between them felt like it was lifting. Working side by side with her mother, Sarah delved into the project. The more she contributed, the more she felt that warmth rekindling the sense of community and purpose. As they gathered materials together, Joan admitted, "I know it's a lot, Sarah. But I feel alive doing this. Our family always came together for those in need." Tears mingled with laughter as they shared stories about life and dreams. Joan, in her wisdom, encouraged her to find a balance that honored both her career and family. "You don't have to choose, you can create something new." That night, Sarah sat down with Lily, who excitedly began detailing her project. Questions tumbled from her lips. Are we going to win? Is Grandma going to be there? What's a hero? Emboldened by the day's events, Sarah smiled. Let us find out together what being a hero means. As they worked, a thought emerged not just about the project, but about family. Maybe they could be strong together, helping one another find meaning in their lives, redefining what it meant to support each other. But just as hope began to bubble, Sarah received an urgent message. The housing authority had an unexpected twist in their plans. Joan's situation was more urgent than anyone had anticipated. Sarah felt the walls close in again. Would she be able to face this new challenge without losing everything she had fought for? The fabric of their lives hung in delicate balance, and now, time ticked away. What would she choose, a job that promised security or a chance to honor family values in a community that needed them? The stakes were higher than ever now. The next few days were a whirlwind. Sarah's mind raced as she balanced household duties, Lily's school project, and the looming uncertainty surrounding her mother's situation. The urgency crept on her like an unwelcome shadow, consuming her thoughts. Sarah's job decision loomed heavy, its presence suffocating. As she lay in bed at night, the weight pushed against her chest. Every time she closed her eyes, it seemed to press deeper. The hope she felt after bonding with her mother began to fray. She imagined what it would be like to let Joan down, to fail not only her mother but also her daughter by choosing comfort over purpose. One afternoon, Sarah knocked on the door of her mother's apartment, seeking guidance. She found Joan sitting at the coffee table, poring over the names of veterans for the community project, a soft smile gracing her features. In that moment, guided by instinct, Sarah poured out her worries. Mom, what if I can't handle everything? What if I find out I'm not strong enough? Joan's gaze softened as she reached out to take Sarah's hand. Sweetheart, strength is not just about carrying burdens alone. It's about sharing them. We've always been a family built on support. The simplicity of her words hit home, cutting through the doubt that clung relentlessly to Sarah. Would you have made a different choice at my age? Sarah asked, longing for clarity. Joan paused and looked thoughtfully at a framed photo of them from years ago. Fat laughter and smiles frozen in time. I would have fought harder for what mattered. I didn't always listen to my heart. I put others' needs first sometimes, even when it meant ignoring my dreams. A wistful sigh escaped her lips. It's human to struggle with decisions. Don't forget to keep your heart open. The conversation settled in Sarah's chest as warmth thrummed through her veins. She began to reconsider her options, pondering how each decision might shape the fabric of her family's future. It was a complicated web, but maybe there was a way to weave together both ambition and devotion. When she returned home that night, Lily was busy sticking colorful stars onto their project poster. The excitement radiated from her small frame, transforming Sarah's anxious energy into joy. They worked late into the night, laughter bubbling between them while learning about local heroes. As they discussed what a hero truly was, Sarah felt an overwhelming flood of purpose reshape her original worries. "Mom, can a hero be anyone?" Lily asked, her innocent curiosity hanging in the air, blanketed in love and light. Sarah replied, "Yes, honey. A hero isn't defined by grand gestures but by the actions we take to help others." The next morning, a new resolve sparked within Sarah. Maybe the answers weren't tucked inside neatly boxed options but rather scattered among those she cherished. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a call from the housing authority. They had news about Joan's situation. Sarah held her breath. Was this the moment of change they needed? Would the outcome shake up their already changing lives, or offer clarity? With lingering uncertainty, she realized that testing her courage might lead to discovering new definitions of themselves. What awaited on the other side of that call might change everything in ways she never anticipated. The phone felt heavy in Sarah's hand. She stared at it for a moment, as if it could speak before she picked it up. With each ring, anticipation twisted her stomach tighter. Finally, she answered, her voice catching. "Hello? Ms. Mackenzie?" The voice on the other end was professional, steady, yet it carried a hint of warmth. "This is Laura from the Housing Authority. I'm calling about your mother's application." A knot formed in her throat. "Yes, I'm listening. We reviewed your mother's case, and there are some options available. It appears there's been an approval for her to receive assistance." For a moment, silence took over. The words wrapped Sarah in cautious hope, but she also didn't want to get her hopes up too high. "We can schedule an appointment to discuss the details." "Oh, that's great," Sarah managed to whisper, her pulse quickening. "When?" "Tomorrow at 10, Laura replied, giving Sarah just enough time to prepare her thoughts and emotions. They ended the call, and Sarah stood frozen, engulfed in a whirlwind of possibilities. As she walked into the living room, glowing light streamed through the window. Lily was sprawled on the floor, surrounded by art supplies, her laughter ringing out as she proudly showed off a drawing of a knight rescuing a princess. Sarah couldn't help but smile, that joy feeling palpable, yet clouded. "Hey, sweet pea, look at you," she said, kneeling beside her daughter and admiring the whimsical details. "What's this story about?" Lily beamed, her eyes shimmering with excitement. "It's about bravery. The knight saves the princess, but they learn to work together as a team." Tears pricked at the corners of Sarah's eyes. In Lily's innocent world, strength and courage meant coming together, not fighting alone. What a lesson for both of them. "Teamwork is really cool," Sarah agreed, wrapping her arms around her daughter. "I think we all need a little help sometimes, even grown-ups." Lily giggled and nudged her mom playfully. "Like in your job? Are you going to be brave?" She thought about it, the decision looming again like a specter. "Yes, I think it's time to be brave, to step up not just for myself but for our family," she said, unsure but resolved to figure out what that meant. After dinner, as they cleaned up, an article in the paper caught her eye. It was about the upcoming community event where veterans would be honored. A spark ignited inside her. Could this be the opportunity to get involved? It could merge her search for purpose with honoring family ties. She grabbed a pen and jotted a note to herself. The next morning, Sarah woke to the sunlight streaming in, feeling lighter somehow, buoyed by the hope of change. As she prepared for the appointment with the housing authority, she noticed the way Lily bounced around the house, her energy contagious, her laughter echoing like a melody. "Mom, can I make some posters for the heroes?" she asked, excitement radiating from every pore. "Absolutely." Sarah smiled, the warmth growing. "You're a hero in the making too, you know." They spent the morning crafting, but as Sarah went over their plans for the community project, a concern nudged at her. What if showing up meant taking on more than she could handle? Yet wasn't that what her mom's journey was about, facing uncertainty with heart and determination? The clock ticked nearer to 10, and as Sarah stepped out the door, a surge of mixed emotions washed over her: fear, hope, determination. Today could indeed begin a new chapter for Joan, but could it possibly redefine her own purpose too? As the door clicked shut behind her, she glanced back at Lily, who waved enthusiastically, her smile a beacon of encouragement. Would this day finally bring the change they longed for? The future felt like a tightrope walk, and Sarah was ready to step forward, even if it was uncertain where the path would lead. Just then, her phone buzzed again. It was a text from Joan, something about her own plans for the day. What could that mean? As Sarah stepped out into the bright morning, the weight of anticipation coursed through her veins. The text from Joan lingered in her mind. What could it possibly contain? She pulled her phone from her pocket, her fingers instinctively swiping to check it again. It wasn't just a message, it was a turning point, a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters. The streets were alive, buzzing with the usual morning hustle. Cars glided by, the scent of fresh coffee wafting from a nearby cafe, mingling with the chatter of people in morning routines. Yet, Sarah felt as if she were in a bubble, isolated in her thoughts. Just be brave, she whispered to herself, a silent mantra driving her forward. She hailed a cab, her stomach twisting slightly as she climbed inside and directed the driver to the housing authority. With every bump on the road, her nerves triggered a flicker of doubt. What if things didn't go as planned? What if Joan still couldn't find her footing? The ride seemed eternal, her mind bouncing between worry and hope. Each red light felt like a countdown, intensifying her resolve. By the time Sarah arrived, she took a deep breath and adjusted her blouse, straightening her posture as she made her way inside. The lobby was bright and welcoming, with a shimmering chandelier and walls adorned with community art. A calming mural depicted local heroes, intertwining with stories of strength and resilience. Sarah's heart swelled. Maybe this was a reminder that she wasn't alone in her journey. Ms. Mackenzie? A friendly woman with short, curly hair called from across the room, her smile straightforward and warm. This must be Laura. Hi. Yes, that's me, Sarah replied, her voice unsteady yet determined. Let us go to my office. Laura led Sarah down a corridor lined with plants, sunlight pouring through large windows. Settled into a cozy office with comfortingly mismatched furniture, Laura opened her folder and began explaining the details of Joan's approval for assistance. Sarah listened closely, absorbing every word, but her thoughts drifted to Lily. What was she up to right now? Did she miss her mom? We could also explore additional resources, Laura continued, pulling Sarah back to the discussion. Programs that could support her emotionally and socially, too. Sarah thought of Lily's exuberance, the way she taught Sarah about heroism through her drawings. That would be incredible. She really needs to feel that connection right now. Laura nodded, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. Families often flourish when given support. It's not just about physical needs. As they discussed the resources available, the activities, the support groups, the connections, something shifted in Sarah's heart. She wasn't just planning for Joan, she was beginning to map out a brighter future for Lily, too. A ripple effect of hope ignited within her, as if this moment was not just about getting through, but about truly living again. Just then, as Laura handed over the papers, a loud beep from Sarah's phone startled her. She glanced down. It was another text from Joan. Her heart pounded as she hesitated before opening it. What if this was an unexpected setback? But curiosity compelled her to read, and she opened the message. All it said was, "I've signed up for a workshop today. It's about sharing stories." Confusion swirled in Sarah's mind. Joan never wanted to share. Would this be another twist in their already complicated journey? Ms. Mackenzie? Laura's voice interjected softly, interrupting her thoughts. Are you okay? A weight hung in the air, and Sarah nodded, her emotions a mix of hope and trepidation. Yes. I need to make a call. Grabbing her phone, she stepped out into the hallway, heart racing anew. What story was Joan ready to tell? And could it reshape everything for them all? Sarah took a deep breath, ready to navigate this new twist. But before she could press dial, the thought echoed in her mind. What if this workshop was the key to unlocking everything? The hallway felt narrow as Sarah leaned against the cool wall, trying to steady her breathing. Joan's text was like a jigsaw piece that didn't quite fit, and the edges of her confusion were sharp against the quiet buzz of the building. What would Joan share at this workshop? Would it bring her closer to the daughter she had almost lost, or push them further apart? With trembling fingers, she dialed Joan's number, a mix of hope and fear tight in her chest. The phone rang once, twice, then a voice she recognized answered. Hello? Joan sounded weary, but there was a hint of excitement underneath. Joan, it's Sarah, she said, her voice catching slightly. I saw your message about the workshop. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. It feels like it might be good for me, Joan replied, and Sarah could hear the tentative smile in her voice. Good for you, or good for us? She had to ask it, risking the vulnerability. A silence stretched out, one that felt heavy with unvoiced truths. Finally, Joan spoke, her tone softer. These stories, they help me face what I've been running from. I want to share. For you both. Sarah felt a flicker of warmth. This was unlike anything she'd experienced before. That's an amazing step, Joan, she replied, the words tumbling out before fear could snuff them away. Why now? Because I'm tired of hiding, Joan admitted, her voice cracking. And if I can't tell you my story, then how can I be there for you? A weight lifted, energizing Sarah. This was at the moment she had long been waiting for. What if I came with you? Would that help you feel more comfortable? Really? There was a pause, followed by genuine disbelief in her voice. You'd come? Of course. I want to be there for you, and I want you to be there for Lily. It feels right. She could almost picture Joan's expression, the mixture of relief and uncertainty. That would be incredible, Sarah. I'm so scared this is a big step for me. But if you're by my side together then, Sarah affirmed, a smile blooming on her face. She could feel warmth spreading within her. Maybe this was a part of healing, not just for Joan but for her own heart too. As they continued to talk about the workshop, brainstorm reactions and emotions, Sarah realized they were carving a new path forward. Memories of challenges and distance began to fade, replaced by something fresher and uncharted territory where sharing could lead to understanding, connection, and perhaps even forgiveness. Once they hung up, Sarah couldn't help but feel the stirrings of excitement. She thought of Lily, how she would light up at the prospect of having both her mother and grandmother together. They could turn this into a family adventure, a day where fears might finally meet their match. Lauren's voice broke through her daydream. Everything all right, Ms. Mackenzie? Yes, I think we're on to something. Her pulse quickened with anticipation. As she stepped back into the office, she felt an unfamiliar sense of confidence. They had the power to redefine their story, but a twist in the day was still ahead. An email chime echoed through the office space, forcing Sarah to pause. Who could that be? She turned towards Laura, whose eyes widened with curiosity. Excuse me for a moment, Sarah murmured, her heart racing as she walked towards the desk. As she opened the new message, tension folded into excitement. The email contained a surprise invitation for an upcoming community event, a chance for families to share their journeys. Could this be the moment that would stitch the pieces of their story together? Just as that thought settled in her mind, something more daring flickered through her. Was she ready to open up, too? And as she tapped her reply, she felt the weight of an answer yet to come, and the question loomed larger. What if this was merely the beginning of their story, the one they would tell together, transformed and resilient? The days leading up to the workshop were a whirlwind of emotions. Each morning, Sarah awoke with anticipation, fueled by the hope of rekindling connections that had frayed over time. There was a buzz within her, both exhilarating and terrifying, as if she were about to step off a precipice. Joan's excitement was palpable, evident in her texts that lit up Sarah's phone. I can't believe it's almost here. What should I wear? Do you think Lily will understand? Each message had a way of weaving a fragile thread of optimism between them, mending the years of silence that felt so heavy on their hearts. On the day of the workshop, the sun stretched high and bright across the sky, casting a warm glow over the building where their stories would unfold. Sarah stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her sweater. She wanted to look approachable, a quiet comfort for Joan. As she left her house, the smell of fresh coffee filled the air, a welcome companion to calm her racing heart. The venue was alive with voices. Families gathered, sharing snippets of laughter, some exchanging nervous glances. Sarah spotted Joan across the room, her hands fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. An instant rush of affection welled up in Sarah's heart. She moved through the crowd, feeling grounded by every step. "Hey," Sarah greeted, pulling Joan into a gentle embrace. "You look great." Joan smiled, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Thanks, I just hope this works." "I mean, what if it's too much?" "It's okay to be scared," Sarah reassured her. "Just take it slow. We're in this together." They took their seats, and as the workshop began, the air crackled with stories waiting to be shared. Voices rose and fell, woven with laughter, tears, and heartaches. Families took turns, vulnerable amidst the collective warmth that wrapped around them like a comforting blanket. When Joan's turn came, Sarah felt her heart race. Joan stood up, her face pale, but determined. The room hushed, all eyes on her. Sarah's stomach twisted. What would she reveal? The years of hurt? Conflict? Joan inhaled, and every eye turned to the trembling woman before them. "I'm here because I spent too many years hiding from my own truth," she began, voice catching. "I pushed away the people I loved the most. My daughter, my granddaughter, both of them deserving better." A ripple of murmurs swept through the audience, each paired with wistful nods of understanding. Sarah held her breath, feeling raw emotion flood over her. "I want to change that," Joan continued, glancing down for a moment as strength seemed to sparkle in her eyes. "I'm here to not just share my story, but to reclaim my family." Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. Was this really happening? The woman who had once closed herself off was now building a bridge straight to them. The applause that shattered the silence was thunderous. Joan smiled through her tears, and in that moment, Sarah felt her own heart swell with pride. They were taking this leap together, and she couldn't have been more grateful. As they wrapped up the workshop, the flood of emotions felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. Families exchanged contact information, the spirit of sharing binding them together in unexpected ways. "Can you believe it?" Sarah asked as they stepped outside, Joan clutching her arm, both of them buzzing with a lightness they hadn't felt in years. "No," Joan breathed, a soft smile spreading across her face. "But it feels like it's just the beginning." As they walked to the car, something deep within Sarah urged her to seize the moment. What if we keep talking, sharing our journey? Maybe setting up regular meetings? A small group, just us? Joan looked at her, hope flickering in her eyes. "You mean it?" "Absolutely. We can keep this connection alive. The world needs to know how healing can happen." And just like that, they began to dream of what lay ahead. But as they drove home, a shadow of doubt settled in Sarah's heart. Could this newfound courage withstand the test of time? With every mile they traveled, another question loomed: what if they weren't just sharing their stories, but also rewriting the very essence of who they were? The mood in the car was electric, a careful mix of excitement and uncertainty. Joan flipped through her purse, fingers pausing on a photograph, the smiling face of her granddaughter, Lily. Sarah could see the pride mixed with pain in Joan's expression. The journey ahead was not just about connection, it was about healing old wounds. "Do you think Lily will come to our first meeting?" Joan asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I hope so," Sarah replied, gripping the steering wheel tightly. "But we can't rush it. Let her feel ready. Just know that you're taking the first steps toward making things right." Joan nodded, staring out the window as the world outside blurred by. Memories flooded her mind, birthdays missed, school plays unvisited, family dinners that felt incomplete without someone she loved. Each recollection weighed heavily on her heart, but now, there was a flicker of possibility, an inkling that change was finally within reach. As they pulled into Sarah's driveway, the evening sun painted the sky with hues of orange and pink. They stepped out of the car, the air crisp around them, carrying the faint scent of blooming flowers. Something about this place felt safe, a tender cocoon they could wrap around themselves as they navigated the uncertainty of the future. "Let us not wait too long to set this up," Sarah said, already pulling out her phone. "I can create a group chat. Can we call it something special?" Joan asked, her eyes brightening with enthusiasm. "Something that captures our journey?" "Absolutely." Sarah smiled, grateful for Joan's newfound energy. "How about Healing Hearts?" "Yes. I love it." Joan clapped her hands in delight. "That feels right." The moment felt electric, a spark pushing away the shadows of the past. They settled on the porch, a warm breeze ruffling their hair, laughter bubbling between them as they exchanged ideas. Each suggestion nurtured a sense of hope, a promise of healing blossoming between them, but then, as Sarah scrolled through her contacts, her smile faded. She paused at Lily's name and a wave of anxiety crashed over her. What if she rejects Joan? The thought hung heavily in the air. Joan had talked about Lily with such love, but how would a teenager, so often caught in her own world, react to her grandmother's attempts at connection? Sarah hesitated. What if Lily doesn't want to come? What if she's still hurt? Joan's expression turned serious, her sparkle dimming as she contemplated the idea. "I can't control her response, but I need to try. She deserves to know I'm here for her." "True. And you deserve the chance to show her," Sarah reflected, taking a deep breath and regrouping her thoughts. They began to strategize on how to approach Lily, dipping into moments they could share, ways Joan could express her love without overwhelming her. Every idea bounced back and forth, weaving into their hopes and dreams. But with each plan came a silent dread, the question wrapping around them like a vine: what if it all backfired? What if Joan's hope resulted in more heartbreak? As the sun began to set, the glow of possibility was shadowed by uncertainty. They would fight to rebuild, but the journey loomed far ahead. Together, they forged a bond, but could the same be true with Lily? With those thoughts swirling, they wrapped up their planning for the night. The adrenaline had subsided, leaving behind a weight of nervous anticipation. As they stepped inside the house, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest moments were yet to come. Just as Sarah placed her phone down, a message pinged. With a pounding heart, she glanced at the screen. It was from Lily. "Mom, can we talk?" In that instant, everything hung suspended in time. Would this be the moment they'd been waiting for, or would it open a door to old wounds? As Sarah inhaled deeply, she knew that whatever came next would decide their fate. Would this message lead them toward healing, or into more tangled emotions? Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she stared at Lily's message. A knot formed in her stomach. It had been months since she had heard from her daughter, and the distance between them felt insurmountable. "What if I don't know how to respond?" she murmured, more to herself than to Joan. Joan leaned closer, a sympathy-filled gaze locking on Sarah's face. "You know her better than anyone. Just be honest, and remind her that you love her." That simple reminder flooded Sarah with warmth, but anxiety still curled like smoke around her. Could she really reach Lily after all this time? Swallowing hard, she typed back, "Of course, sweetheart." "When and where?" The ellipsis blinked on the screen for what felt like an eternity before it faded. "Can we meet at the park? You know, the one by the lake?" Sarah's heart raced. The park. It held so many memories: family picnics, laughter, and Lily's childhood joy. "Sure. How about tomorrow at 5? She hit send and let herself breathe again. "We can do this," Joan said, squeezing her hand, her voice full of encouragement. She's reaching out, and that's a good sign. The next day arrived slowly, each tick of the clock amplifying Sarah's nerves. She fidgeted with her hair and paced the house while Joan prepared a simple picnic. What if she's still angry? What if she wants nothing to do with me? Joan paused, turning to her with a gentle firmness. If she's angry, it's okay. That's part of healing. Just listen to her. Let her express herself. You can handle it. Sarah nodded, though doubt lingered. They loaded the car with sandwiches and cookies, Joan insisting on making Lily's favorite ones, a small gesture that felt significant. When they arrived at the park, the world seemed to hold its breath. Children's laughter echoed, couples strolled hand in hand, and everything felt so normal. Yet, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of dread. She spotted Lily sitting on a bench by the water, lost in thought. Her gaze pinned Sarah like a dart. Go on, Joan urged, nudging her gently. With hesitant steps, Sarah approached the bench. Memories rushed over her, but she pushed them aside for now. Hey, Lily, she called softly. The moment felt fragile, as if it could shatter any second. Lily looked up, her expression a mix of surprise and something else. Was it hurt? Anger? Sarah couldn't tell. Mom, she said, the word barely escaping her lips. Can we talk? The tension was palpable, like static before a storm. Joan decided to give them space, walking a little further away but keeping them within sight. The blanket of uncertainty surrounded Sarah and Lily as they settled into the quiet. Why did you message me? Lily asked, crossing her arms defensively. I wanted to see you, and I wanted to apologize for everything. I know I messed up, and I just want to listen to you, Sarah replied, her voice trembling with honesty. Lily's expression softened, but just slightly. You don't just get to say sorry after all this time, Mom. It's not that simple. Sarah felt her heart drop. You're right. It's not. But I want to understand how you feel. Whatever it takes, I will be here. Lily stared at the ground, her face unreadable. The heavy silence hung between them, but at least they were finally talking. That was something. Maybe I'm just tired of feeling like you don't care, Lily said, her voice breaking slightly. The vulnerability in her words struck Sarah like a bullet. I do care. I always have. I want to try to make things better between us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden light, a ray of hope flickered in the air. But would a single conversation be enough to bridge the chasm that time had carved? While Sarah searched for the right words to bridge that gap, a sound broke through her thoughts, a soft sob from Lily. And as weighty emotions threatened to sink them, Sarah knew this was only the beginning. The moment was unfolding, raw and crucial, but would it mend their relationship or unravel more threads of pain? Mom, Lily's voice was barely a whisper. In that moment, hearts were open, but as they shared their truths, would they find the bond that had long been missing, or would this encounter spark deeper wounds? With the setting sun casting golden hues over the park, Sarah felt both hope and fear swirl within her. She had fought dearly to be here, to bridge the gap between her and Lily. I've been so caught up in trying to provide for us, Sarah admitted, her voice quaking, that I lost sight of what really mattered. I lost the time with you, Lily, and for that I'm so sorry. Lily looked up, her eyes shining with vulnerability. I wanted to be there with you, Mom. I wanted to talk and laugh, but instead, it just felt like I was losing you. Moments of clarity struck Sarah like lightning. She realized that her daughter's feelings mirrored her own struggles. They had both faced the pain of separation, yet here they were, willing to stand in vulnerable honesty. I was afraid of failing, of not being enough. But you're right, it was never about having it all figured out. As they exchanged raw emotions, a connection began to spark. A small shift took root, a hint of understanding. Sarah reached out, gently holding Lily's hands as she leaned closer. Let us promise each other to be more open. I want us to be a team, even through the messy parts. A silence fell between them, laden with hope. Lily's eyes softened as she nodded slowly. Okay, Mom. I want to try. With that, an invisible bond began to mend, but it still felt delicate. Sarah understood they could not repair everything with a few words. There would be hard conversations and healing ahead. Meanwhile, Joan sat on the grass a few feet away, eyes glistening as she watched their exchange. It was her daughter and granddaughter, two hearts colliding, inch by inch, ready to reconstruct the family they had always longed to be. After a long moment, Lily took a deep breath. "Can we talk about Grandma? I want to understand her better." A rush of warmth spread through Sarah. "Yes. She is working hard to be there for us, and I believe she is beginning to brave those ties. You'd love her ideas." As Lily's face lit up, Sarah felt something transformative within her. Their family was reclaiming its bond. The weight of grief began to lift, replaced with a simmering joy, one that came from confronting their vulnerabilities together. "Shall we make a plan? Maybe a family project or a dinner?" Sarah asked, her heart thumping with excitement at the very thought. "I like that idea," Lily exclaimed, her smile shining like the sun. "How about we invite Grandma, too?" "Absolutely," Sarah replied, her optimism soaring. They exchanged their ideas, laughter replacing hesitation, the park suddenly feeling more inviting. As they finished up, Joan walked over, sensing their renewed energy. "How did it go?" she asked, an eager smile on her face. "I think we just took a big step," Sarah said, tears of joy welling in her eyes. "Really?" Joan's face lit up, raw hope reflected in her smile. "That's wonderful. We're going to do this as a family," Lily declared boldly. "I want to know more about you and what you do." "Oh, sweetheart," Joan breathed, her heart swelling. This was the moment she had yearned for, the beginning of healing, a chance to rewrite their story. "Let's set a date, then," Sarah suggested, clasping her hands around Lily's. As they walked back toward the car, the air felt different, charged with potential. Every step ignited laughter, and for the first time in a long time, they all felt a sense of belonging. The bond was slowly stitching itself back together, the ties of family held more tightly through honesty and shared laughter. This was the transformation they had been waiting for, not just for themselves, but for generations to come, and as they climbed into the car, Sarah knew this was merely the beginning of their journey. The road ahead still had bumps, but for the first time, she felt prepared to face whatever awaited them together. If you felt uplifted by this story, now is the time to act. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you won't miss our next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Tap that like button right now to feed the algorithm. Tell us your thoughts in the comments. How did this ending impact you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful transformation. Help us spread the inspiration.